For the next stop on our Satay tour, we visit Chef Heinz van Holzen at his restaurant Bumbu Bali Benoa in southern Bali, where he shows us how to make this sizzling duck satay.
Name me one single nation on planet Earth that does not cook satays. The entire planet cooks satays. The Japanese have yakitori, the Koreans have bulgogi, the Indians have tandoori, Middle East have kebabs, the French have brochettes, Australian Aboriginals do it for the last 40,000 years. Satays is global. And yet, what I want to show you very quickly, there's a very particular type of satay that is made here in Bali, which is very unique to the island. And this is a satay which is actually made with minced meat. And we refer to this as a satay lilith. You have to keep in mind as well, you probably have seen it on your trips around Bali. You've seen these ducks wading in the rice fields. These ducks, the pure purpose for these ducks are eggs. And that's what they use for. They lay the eggs, they get the eggs, but they do a lot of working hours. So they end up ducks, they're rather skinny, they don't have any meat. And a lot of this meat ends up as a satay. Now that meat can be very, very tough. So in order to make it easy to eat, you chop that meat very, very fine, and then you baste them back on a skewer, and that's what we're going to do together now. Okay, so despite the fact that a lot of people say, I still want to use a glove. I just find it a lot more comfortable when I have to touch food like this. Again, as I said, the ducks are normally very, very tough. So what we do now with the ducks, we put them down the meat grinder just the way you make your hamburgers. So what we have here now, this is basically, it's two-thirds, it's not just duck, it's good to add a little bit of pork in as well. The Balinese, despite the fact that Indonesia is a Muslim country, the Balinese are Hindus and absolutely adore their pork. And we've got very, very good quality pig here as well. So we've got two-thirds of duck and one-third of pork meat that has been minced. Now what else goes in? A couple other things. We have some grated coconut. We add some grated coconut. There's freshly grated coconuts. Today in the West this is quite easy to get. You can get it frozen fresh, so it works quite well as well. Next, and this is really the key to Indonesian food, whenever we start to cook in Indonesia or in Bali, the first thing we do when we start our cooking process, we actually combine spices in a stone mortar and grind them. And this spice blends here in Bali we actually call a bumbu. So what we add on this particular spice paste is for meats with strong flavors, duck, pork, duck and lamb. We add a bit of this spice paste. Then next we have here, and this is again very, very delicious, not only as an addition to the meat here, we've got here fried shallots, fried garlic, fried chilies, a little bit of shrimp paste is in, a little bit of salt. This goes in now as well. We add a generous amount. Not to forget a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of palm sugar, not too much. And what goes well, but there we have to be a little bit careful, a little bit of fresh coconut cream. We add a little bit of this in, very delicious. Now, what else do we have? Add a good pinch of salt. Oops, too much wind here. We have a pinch of pepper. And what is really absolutely crucial when we prepare this dish for this, one cannot use frozen meat. That meat for this dish has to be fresh. It's like in the West when a butcher makes sausages, he always uses very, very fresh meat. It binds so much better. The same, you can do exactly the same. Not only here now we use duck, but you could do the same using pork. But is also very popular here in Bali is the same principle with fish. So what we do now, you mix it, you blend them into a very, very homogeneous paste. So this takes a little bit of time until it really holds together. This, again, as I said, if you would do it with frozen meat, it simply will not work. And then what we need to do now is we need to try a little bit. Again, everybody likes raw pork, everybody likes raw duck. People always surprised when they see me trying this. The reason I can do it here, I know the origin of this duck. I know the origin of the pork. I know where they were slaughtered. I know where they were aged. I know the quality, so that's the only reason I can do it. What I have to do now is add a little bit, pinch more salt. Okay. And then should be okay. Now comes the good thing. What I'm going to do now, when you look at what I'm doing, it looks very, very simple, but it takes a little bit of a skill. So what we do now, we make little balls, not too much. We put them to the front. You press them down a little bit. And now what we do is you keep turning them. And while you turn it, you pinch them. And you bring them down. And you baste them evenly on your bamboo skewers. And you go through this one by one. And what happens now with these little ripples which we have here, once you grill them, these little ripples, they will actually burn and add a slightly bitter flavor. Same story again, make little balls. It takes a little practice, but once you get into it, it's actually very easy to do. Keep turning, pinching, bring them down. And they all look nice and even, so it should be an even amount of meat evenly over it. Another thing, first for a while I thought we actually started something. To find out by accident, I came across some sort of ancient recipes which go back to the 40s and 50s. And these were actually recipes written by someone in Bali, couldn't read and write, passed on his knowledge to a third person. And he actually described in there that you could use lemongrass as well. Now what you do with lemongrass, you actually have to bruise the ends a little bit. You just give them a little, you can bruise it with your hand, a knife would be better, and we do exactly the same. We baste them over, and then same story again, we roll it, we evenly bring them down. And of course the lemongrass will add a very delicious flavor to the skewers as well. This is not only very typical, unique Balinese, but this is also considered a very complicated dish. And this is a dish which a Mama Bali, a cook, would never do at home. This dish is really only cooked for ceremonies, and when it's done for ceremonies, then the boys get together, they do the ceremonial feast, and the girls will get together and do all the offerings. So this is Sate Lilit. Now, the next crucial thing, we're going to just show you that on a tabletop now, it makes it easier here, but was absolutely crucial when you do these little meat skewers. You should not grill them, you should not roast them, but you should sear burn them. Just like a pizza oven should be in excess of 500 degrees. The hotter you cook it, the hotter you sear it, the more flavor you get. So we have here burning hot charcoal. So we put this one by one, we put them on. And what we have underneath, we cook them over coconut charcoal. And what is important with coconut charcoal, they need a lot of oxygen to really ignite very, very hot. So that way we can keep them very, very hot. So we just put a few on. You just have to be patient. And what you need to have always, you have to have a little bit of basting mix on the side as well. What we have, this is basically the same spice paste as what I showed you before, which we use for meats with strong flavors, pork, duck and lamb. We blend, we add a generous amount of oil, and then we just keep turning them, and from time to time then we have to baste them a little bit. So from time to time you just take a little bit of this basting mix. Just like I said before, keep in mind, this is not everyday cooking. This is a Balinese cooking for special ceremonies. That's when these satés would be prepared. And then very often you go through absolutely thousands and thousands and thousands of these little meat skewers. Again, just keep blowing in a lot of oxygen So that keeps the charcoal very, very hot. A little bit more basting. Again, as I said before, the key here is high heat. The higher the heat is, the better you have, the better it is. And you can see here as well, the moment I stop blowing in air, it seems like the charcoal starts to die down almost immediately. The next thing then obviously is when you serve these satays, these little meat skewers, you should virtually eat them from the grill. So when you put them on your tongue, they almost still sizzle. There's nothing worse, and I think it's very sad when you put satays to the side and you let it sit for a few minutes, they sort of cool down a little bit. These are satay lilies. As I mentioned before, you could do it with seafood, you can do it with fish, you can do it with prawns, you could do it with duck, chickens, anything really goes. What goes with it? We've got a little bit of a peanut sauce that goes with it. A typical Balinese dish would be that green bean salad with coconut. Traditionally, this is very, very ceremonial. The chicken actually would be raw, uncooked, and you would add a little bit of blood as well. But of course, we do it without blood, and the chicken is cooked as well. Some pickled vegetables, a little bit of chili soya. And what always goes with satay is a little bit of rice cakes. And this makes a nice little snack.